Have you noticed how some things in life are true regardless of the situation, while others, not so much? Take fear, for example. If you ask a bunch of people if fear is good or bad, you may have some say it's good, some say it's bad, and the majority would likely say it depends on the nature of the fear and circumstances. For example, as you walk through a forest trail and you suddenly see a large bear coming towards you, this will spark some level of fear, which will most likely have you cautiously turn around and head the other direction. This would be an example where fear would compel you to make a wise decision. The opposite can also be true. Just think of all those movies where someone is about to fall and they're clinging for dear life to whatever it is they can grab hold of. Along comes a person with the power to save them, and yet to do so, it requires the person lets go of whatever it is they're clinging to for safety. Their only hope for survival is to take the hand of the one that can pull them to safety. And yet fear has them continue to cling to that which holds them in their place and ultimately will lead to their destruction. Fortunately, in most cases, the fear is overcome as the person trusts their rescuer and is saved. However, in real life, we often give in to our fear rather than doing that which would bring greater security and joy while avoiding potentially disastrous results. Hello, my friends. Jeffrey Shaw here from Grow to Your Potential. As we continue our journey through conflict, as we look to build better teams, today we look to the role of fear as we explore a common downfall of teams. Unlike last week where we focused on the leader, today we look to the team members who cripple their teams as they succumb to fear. As John Maxwell says in his book, Leadership Gold, he says, fear of being honest with leaders about the potential problems that a course of action might bring has hurt many teams. This is something I have seen firsthand many times, both from team members as well as from myself. Rather than speaking up to add our perspective to a situation, far too often we hold back out of fear. Fear of looking foolish, fear of criticism, fear of making the leader look foolish, fear of the responsibility that may come if we're right, fear of the responsibility and blame if we are wrong, and many other fears that may arise. In these situations, it's far too easy to undervalue our own contribution to the team as we put all the weight and responsibility on the team leader. When we do this, we rob the team of our unique perspectives and experiences that can help the team make the very best decisions possible. As a result, we cripple the team and ourselves. I'm reminded of a time back in university. During a calculus course, the teacher was working through a complex problem on the chalkboard. One of those problems that had multiple layers and was taking up multiple chalkboards to write it all down. Along the way, I noticed a problem. A simple slip where some numbers got switched. A mistake that was out of character for this teacher. I adjusted my notes and I continued on with the correct numbers, adjusting as I went, expecting him to recognize his mistake or someone else to point it out. As time went on, I realized he wasn't aware of his error and no one else was going to say anything, if they'd even notice, as they were just so quickly writing everything down, just trying to keep up. I was now faced with a dilemma and had to decide the role fear would play. I can continue on knowing that my notes were correct and hope that others would eventually figure it out as well and go back and correct their notes. Or I could be brave, speak up and risk a confrontation with the teacher, potentially coming out of this looking foolish. This debate went on in my head for some time, and I realized that the longer I waited, the harder this was going to be to address. Coupled with the confusion others would face trying to solve this on their own, I knew what I had to do. I faced my fears and I kindly asked the teacher about a potential error in what he had written. Sure enough, he was very quick to respond, suggesting I just didn't understand, and proceeded to explain how what he had written was right. At this moment, I thought to myself, why did I even bother? Why did I even bring it up? And yet, as he worked to demonstrate how I was only misunderstanding and provide me with some clarity, he came across his error and did what all good leaders should do. He acknowledged the error. He then proceeded to erase a board and a half of equations to correct the error and start again. Thankfully, this teacher did the right thing and acknowledged his error, and the class now had the correct notes, and the fears that had me holding back were abated. Although the teacher's response would help me have the courage to speak up in the future, his response, or potential future responses, are not grounds for me to hold back and succumb to fear. Regardless of how the teacher responded, I had a responsibility to speak up, and this is true in every team. As a member of a team, we have a responsibility to voice our thoughts and ideas. We have a responsibility to identify potential problems and bring those to the leader. When we hold back, we rob the team of valuable insights and the success that can be achieved when we work together. Your voice matters. Your experiences and insights have value. If your ideas and perspectives seem to be ignored as the team goes a different direction, at least you have the comfort of knowing they do so having all the information. So please, for your sake and that of your team, move through the fear, brave potential conflict, and add your voice to that of your team. You and your team will be better for it, as it allows you to grow to your potential. Join me again next week as we explore the myth: a tranquil team is a healthy team. Thank you for joining me today and allowing me to be part of your growth journey.